Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, update commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com, where I dive deeper into all these sectors, looking for potential investment opportunities. We still have the May Day coupon code that is active if you'd like a discount. Let's dive in. Let's take a look, see what's going on. We're starting with the dollar here, and the dollar sideways today, but we've got this nice big move higher, which is obviously accompanied by an increase of interest rates. And the dollar is just a function of monetary tightness of that currency's area. So dollar's been moving on up. That looks like a pretty strong move. We'll have to look at yields to see if this might continue. It could be a back test where we come on up, back test and roll over, or it could be maybe a start of a new trend that we continue higher, higher, and higher. We'll have to wait and see. The interest rates, the 2-year is up 1.45%. Here's the big move. And I think the markets are confused here. It's got me confused to some degree. Those who are in the camp of recession, why are rates going up like this? Is this temporary, or is this something that is a little bit more permanent? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We've got the downtrend line break here. So we broke out to the downside there. Lots of times you get a return move, and then it could potentially roll over again and pull on back. We are seeing strength in oil, and oil does have an impact on interest rates. And that might be one of the things that's impacting interest rates here in the short term. So interest rates are moving on up. Same with the 10-year, up quite a bit, and that does look like we could continue higher. And the 30-year also looks pretty dang strong. Nice little continuation pattern on up. We are getting close to resistance on the 30-year here, and we'll see if it goes up or if we get resistance and rolls back over. We'll have to wait and see what it actually does. TYX TNX ratio, we've got this inversion that's been falling, so it's inverting. We are inverting this curve again. We are coming back down. Now, the big question is, how sustaining is this move going to be? Are we going to go back, invert again, and have oil prices move to the upside? Was this just one big fake out? I don't know. We've got a difficult landscape to navigate ahead of us that I don't think we've ever navigated before. Some people say, well, look back at 2007 and 8 and the yield curve uninverted. It's like, guys, that's not even a good analogy. We had construction employment falling. We had inventories through the moon. Like, that was a housing market crash. No housing market crash, people. No housing market crash. So we've got construction workers, all employment construction workers going up. We could reinvert this. And all of those people are on the wrong side of this thing. Potentially. I'm not saying it is, but potentially it could be. That's what the data is suggesting. And then we've got the unemployment rate, and they're jacking with the numbers, no doubt. So all these numbers are getting jacked with as well. TLT bond prices pulling back. I mean, obviously, if rates are going up, bond prices are pulling back. If it decides to show up, there we are pulling on back. Now, this could be a retest. Tough to say. Maybe we get a retest, it turns and goes back up, and all the recession people are right. Potentially. Maybe. We've got the 2-year, 10-year. It is inverting, so that's going up and inverting again. Bigger picture view to show you what that looks like. This is the uninversion coming down, and we're reinverting coming back up. How sustaining is this move? Don't know. Are we going to come back to this resistance line, tag it, and then roll back over? It's possible. It is possible. I know a lot of people watch this in the short term, and right now it is very confusing on which direction rates and the market are going to go. And I think we've got a lot of confusion across the board, not just a little bit. So when things get really confusing, what a lot of traders do is you should be on the sidelines if you're a trader. I'm not a trader. I'm a long-term investor. I kind of stick with my own, do my own thing. But we've got gold down a little bit. I think gold still looks really good. We've got small sideways action. Still looks good to go higher. Still looks good. And it's just waiting for yields to fall and the dollar to drop if it wants to go up. If yields and the dollar continue to go higher, we could see this continue sideways or maybe even pull back. Silver's doing the same thing, a little bit of a down candlestick, but we're on top of all of this. This is in a bullish formation still. So yeah, we could move sideways, we could consolidate, we could do all sorts of things in the short term. Still looks pretty good, and we're still consolidating here. So it's well set up in position for a move higher if the conditions swing back around. We've got platinum down a little bit today, and we are still positioned above this breakout here. We've got big buying candlestick, small selling pressure, still looks well positioned to try to break out. Everything's A-okay. We've got palladium up 2.85%. That's bouncing off support here. Support's there. We bounced, and then it looks like we are trying to move higher. Looks pretty good. GDX down 1.3%, GDXJ down, and SILJ down a little bit. We're not selling off hard here. So it's hanging around, and it's like the buyers are sitting there just holding on. And the sellers, there's not a ton of selling pressure. Otherwise, we'd be dive bombing to the downside. So everything looks okay. It looks well poised. You just got to be patient for the right market conditions to come swinging around. XAU to gold ratio is down about 1%. We're still above the big breakout line there, and we're at a really cheap level. Everything looks okay, and we've been bouncing around here. People getting a little bit too impatient, probably. Crude oil up about 4%. Big move higher. This was another one that I was very curious on which direction this would go. We came on down, paused at support. A lot of people were like, we're going to get a recession. Oil's going to dive bomb to $30 a barrel. I'm like, okay. Okay, good call on that one, guys. Really blew that one. Everybody got mega short. I think that was the most short it's ever been, and maybe it's going to squeeze you guys to the upside. You know what that's called? The slingshot. You know what you need for $30 oil? You need a deleveraging event that's not going to occur. Good luck with that call. So now we're back within the pattern. We've got some pretty big moves the past 2 weeks at least, and we'll see where we end up this week. And it's moving on up. Those people are getting squeezed. Squeeze, baby, squeeze. TTF gas moving sideways right at resistance. We've got natural gas in America down a little bit, pulling on back. We're back to support. There's the support level going across. We've got a lot of support through here. So we'll see where it goes. Looking all right. XOP, yeah, you know me. Now, we had a 4% update in crude oil, and XOP didn't really move much. We're up between a bunch of resistance. We'll see what occurs here. I'd like to see XOP be up 5, 6, 7, 8%, but it is not. So how come the market's not loading up in equities, although we have a 4% update in crude oil? That's a good question that should be researched. OIH was flat today on an oil move of 4%. Why? Is this a temporary move where we're going to come back down, or do we have staying pressure to move back up? And that's where it gets tricky. Short-term investors are going to be all sorts of turned around here. Longer term, doesn't matter. I'll ride through it. Newcastle coal futures up 2.27%, looking pretty good. We need energy. And this here looks like a potential bottom here that we're going to probably work our way on up. So Newcastle coal futures, breakout, retest. Then we head higher usually. We've got Sprott Uranium Trust up a little bit. So a little bit of upward action, still looking good. Momentum's behind us. Future uranium pricing looking pretty good. continues a little bit higher. We've got URA down 1.5% or so. We've got Uranium down a little bit and URNJ, and these days don't look that bad. It is a bearish engulfing on some of these, which means we could head a little bit lower. I'm not convinced, though, because we've got buying pressure at the end of this day and put these wicks at the bottom. So it's okay. We've been moving sideways. We're kind of squeezing up in this corner here. We'll see what occurs. We've got copper down just a little bit. It's been flagging out kind of sideways here. Just chopping sideways. We've got COPX up just slightly. Could be a consolidation pattern, something like that is what I'm seeing there. We've got iron ore moving on up, looking good, feeling good, looking good for iron ore. Yep, that's moving on up. We've got aluminum down a little bit. We're right at that resistance zone. We'll see if we can break through here. We've got nickel moving sideways. Little bloody nose is what I call it. That still looks good to go higher. Moo down 0.6%, but that is poised to go upwards. Why? Big green candlesticks, small red candlesticks. Think of it as flag patterns, pennant formations, that type of deal there. That's what these are. So you get a big pull, consolidation, big pull, consolidation, big pull, and it stair steps higher. Emerging markets up 0.83%, even in the face of pretty big interest rates in a flat dollar. We got KRE, the regional banks are continuing to consolidate in this awesome pattern I drew a while back. We've got TAN up 1.8%, looking all right. Lit was actually lit. Look at this thing go, guys. This is like a short squeeze and a half. Short T squeeze. Look at the gaps. The gap. This is the gap. Every single gap there, just gap, 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 gap. REMX rare earths are also gapping. Big move today, 6.5% up. Looking good. There's your double bottom. Looks good to continue higher. We've got Baltic Dry Index down slightly, looking okay. Maybe we get a little bit of a retest there. We've got XHB moving sideways right at support. It's holding on, guys. It's holding on. Home builders are still good. And we'll see if we can break through that support level. I mean, we're at it. We'll see what happens. Russell 2000 down a little bit. Still above support. Still looks okay. Not much selling pressure. We've got SPX down a little bit, about 1%. Still above support. We'll see what happens. And the NASDAQ down about 1.18 and still above support. Again, we'll see what happens here. Little bit of a bearish stance in the short term. SMCI up 15%, getting some of those shorts squeezed now. Obviously, it's had a pretty big pullback. Boom. Flag pattern, boom. And now we're trying to put in a bottom here, I think. NVIDIA up 2.29. It is above that breakout, so that's looking a little bit better. A little bit of momentum loss with the wick at the top. Then we've got Bitcoin up a little bit with a little bit of a wick. Tough call here. We've got some good selling pressure coming here, and then kind of a weaker move higher. This could be a move lower in the short term. Ethereum down a little bit, and that still looks a little bit weak here with a flaggish type pattern that we could head lower in the short term. And we've got a wick today. So there's selling pressure that reversed towards the end of that day downward. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Mayday coupon code if you're interested. I did post the question and answer session from Sunday. It's on the website if you guys want to see that. And that's all I've got for today, guys. So we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.